welcome to the SpiritPreneur Symposium. I'm Susie Beiler and I'm here with Gabe, and Gabe is going to share with us a little bit about what he's up to and how amazingly he shares his spiritual gifts. Gabe, thank you so much for being here with me in the studio today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you about how you share your spiritual gifts and get paid doing it.
Sure.
How did you start out with all of this?
I started out actually with creating a series of workshops, of musical workshops, that I was offering at different youth centers and rehabilitation clinics and things like that. And I was kind of co-creating these, what I call interactive music workshops, where we basically get people from all different walks of life together to just co-create spontaneous music.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so, I mean, at first we weren't really getting paid anything, and a lot of it was just voluntary, just to kind of get some momentum going in that direction with that particular creation. And then over time, with everything, it's always a process, it sort of evolved, and then that idea kind of translated into making YouTube videos. And I was having so much experience with public speaking at that point that it felt like it was the right time to start a YouTube channel and kind of put myself out there.
Ooh, good.
And then naturally, over time, after making the YouTube channel, I started giving private sessions, and the different services that I was offering sort of expanded and evolved from that point.
Yeah, of course.
In an organic kind of way.
Isn't that the way?
Yeah.
Especially for us spiritual entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It evolves, and we don't get stuck on one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it can change over time.
Over time, the idea expands a lot, and you just have to keep on aligning yourself with your expanded vision. And all of it can happen really organically. I mean, in my experience, it happened. There was times where I was in a place of not as trusting as much, and I would want to like force certain things to happen. But ultimately, when I'm looking back on the process of just following my excitement and following the path, it happened really organically. It just was jumping from one thing to the next, aligning myself with that expanded desire, and then of course physical reality reflects that back to you.
You're like picking up my telepathic thoughts.
Cool.
Because as you're speaking, I'm thinking about trust.
Yeah.
And how important trust is on this journey.
Yeah.
Were there times where you were just totally like not trusting and freaking out?
Oh yeah, tons of that. Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely tons of that, especially several years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it really has been. But when I first started to offer services publicly, there was a lot of the sense that I needed to make things happen. And to an extent, from a certain perspective, that is true in the sense that it does require you to get on the same page with yourself.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, because of how we're conditioned, we think that it's necessary for us to make everything manifest in this very specific way, or make our business happen, make our service happen. But in actuality, it's literally just a process of aligning your perspective to how your higher self sees things. You start feeling better about yourself, you start trusting more, and you start to realize that everything's already working in your favor. You just have to allow it to be the perfect system that it is and work for you.
Now, did you have any entrepreneurial background? Like, are your parents entrepreneurs?
No.
You just birthed yourself into this.
Yeah, no, this is totally... I have absolutely no context for being an entrepreneur. I still don't.
Awesome.
You know, like I meet other people. I meet other people like you and other friends that we hang out with that are doing similar work.
Yeah.
Where it just sort of happened for them by following their excitement, and that's really the only context that I have. I've never taken classes really on anything.
No business degree.
No,
business
I have
classes,
no
nothing.
business. I have absolutely no business experience. But really, just from following the path of my excitement, I have learned an extremely wide variety of skills and have developed a sort of business sense naturally over time.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree with that process. When you follow your soul, when you follow your excitement, your passions, that whatever you need to learn to implement it, you'll learn it.
Yeah, you just learn it.
Because it's just in your heart to share.
Yeah.
And so you do whatever's necessary to make it happen.
Yeah.
You're such an inspiration with that, Gabe.
Cool.
Yeah, I love
Thanks
that.
so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me about the first time you exchanged money for your spiritual services and what that was like to actually put a price tag on something.
Yeah, that's a
This
really
is what
interesting
it
question.
costs.
Yeah. So the first time that I probably really experienced that was when I first started offering those workshops that I was speaking about earlier. And we had just got connected with a rehabilitation center that was in the area, and so I was co-creating these workshops with two other people at the time. So there, first there's the experience of, okay, how much is this actually worth? And how do we split it all? You know? And because everyone's commitment is sort of in a different place, and what everyone's contributing is and it's not a better or worse thing, but just in a different way for each person.
Right.
So our thought was just like, well, let's just pick a number, you know. And so we just picked a number with what worked for us at the time, with our belief system at that time, and just hoped that the people that we were doing the session for, doing the workshop for, were receptive to that. And I think that there was some negotiation of like, okay, we can do this. This is too high for us. So we sort of just found a middle ground with it. But I do remember just absolutely having no idea how to price it. And it's an interesting practice because it makes you place value on what you offer. And it makes you question your ideas of value in the first place. Yep. Because in our reality, right, we quantify value by numbers and money and this and that and this, all this stuff. Yeah. And that's all fine, but you really have to be clear on what your value is in order to actually effectively work with that system that's in place right now. And also you have to have the perspective that ultimately your value can never be quantified. Exactly. You know, it's not quantifiable. Yeah.
This is what I have is priceless. Right. How can I put a price tag on it?
So really you once again with everything else, you just really, you feel into what works the best for you. You feel into a number that feels right for you. And I mean, I experience that the more that I do this and the more that I sort of develop a context for it, I have more of a reference as to, okay, how much really do I feel this should be priced? Yeah. And I can kind of just like in an unattached sense, compare it to perhaps like what other people are offering that's in a similar vein, or things that I've offered in the past. So like over time, I've built more of a context or like a reference point for it. Yeah. But I mean, at first you really don't have any reference point. And you could do all this research and so on and so forth, but ultimately...
you can take all the classes.
Yeah, you can take all the classes, do all the research, but ultimately you just have to decide that this is of value, I am of value, and this is how much the value is. Yeah. And it really gets you to shift your ideas of self-worth, you know, because when you know that you have value, after a certain point you stop feeling that sort of sense of like, oh, I don't know, is this really worth it? Are people going to receive this? And as sensitive beings, as empathic beings, you oftentimes, the ego protocol is oftentimes to feel not worthy. And that's sort of everything, like the thought of feeling not worthy, and that translates into business a lot.
Yeah, especially if your clients are sensitive empaths. Yeah. They're going to feel if you're feeling unworthy.
Yeah. Oh, completely.
So
totally.
It's
a perpetual cycle.
Yeah, one of the things I love about being in a spiritual business is that my business is also my spiritual path. Yeah. And totally. Integrity is crucial in that. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about integrity and how, just in your day-to-day, you make sure that you're walking your talk with what you're sharing with your clients. Yeah, well, I mean, certainly after a certain point, your talk and your walk fuses, right? There becomes no separation. Hopefully.
But hopefully, yeah. I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal, is that.
It's not always true for everyone in a spiritual business. Sure. So that's why it's a high value for me.
That is a good point, yeah. But when you really are walking your walk, then your talk and your walk will fuse, and your business will automatically reflect integrity as you're living more in integrity. So before you're even thinking about integrity in a business, you have to take a look at how authentic you're being within your own everyday moment-to-moment experience.
Yeah.
Because then that is what allows everything else in your reality to reflect that. So that's what allows your business to reflect integrity.
Yeah.
And you definitely will, and in my experience, I definitely have run into a lot of things where you are given a choice that can oftentimes be, it's not always black and white, you know.
Yeah.
And so you'll run into these kinds of experiences where you'll have to make a decision where it's sort of a gray area. And okay, is this right? Well, this person is asking for this, and I'm not really sure if I can provide that, but I think that I can if I kind of shift over to this kind of belief, or like shift over to this kind of skill set. I can kind of tailor to this individual. And then, you know, how honest then am I with like where I'm at with that offering? So like I've run into that too, where like a lot of the things that have like expanded my skill set, for example, has just been saying yes. Like people have asked me, can you do that? And I'm just like, the first thought is like, I don't know how to do that. But then the second thought is like, yeah, I can do that. So it's like,
that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. So
you really like push yourself.
Yeah. I'll just learn it. I'll just learn it.
Yeah.
But so, for example, in that example, there's the sense of, okay, there's a perspective of, I don't know how to do this. And then there's the perspective of, I don't know how to do this, but I can do this. And so when you're expressing yourself towards someone, you have to find the middle ground of expressing that you can do this, but also like, this will be an experiment, you know? And I think that's like that's something that I've run into a handful of times of like finding where the integrity is in that experience, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
Like,
we could really go so much deeper into this. This is a really juicy conversation.
Yeah.
I am going to shift it though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to find out like the favorite things that you do.
Sure.
Because, you know, you do so many different things.
Yeah.
What's the favorite thing that you do in your spiritual business?
So my favorite thing right now is fusing. I'm finding ways to fuse all of my creative platforms. So
like combining all
of them. So
beautiful.
So like there's the music aspect, there's the art aspect, there's the animation aspect.
Yeah.
And there's like a poetry aspect, or like a transmission, like a channeling, a verbal channeling aspect. So one thing that I'm doing, and I'm not really like offering this as a business per se right now, but like all of these things that have sort of all these skill sets that have accumulated from following my passion and offering them as a business is sort of like fusing into this one new form of expression where I'm fusing all of these things, music, art, animation, film, transmission, to like create this like ultimate galactic experience for people. And as it happens with me, it's like I'll create something new, and then the inspiration for how to offer that as a service to like financially support me and offer it to others as something.
That's a skill in and of itself.
Yeah, that comes after. So I find that the
inspiration comes first.
The inspiration comes first, and the way in which for myself, I discover how to make that into a service comes later. Yeah. So like, just as another example, one of the services that I offer is doing the sort of like the channeled ET portraits for people. And so I just had the inspiration, like 3D modeling would be something that would be really cool to get into. Like I've already been doing these animations, and like I play with digital art and stuff. Let me just
with clay or something?
No, not with clay. Like more like on a digital, like
got it. Okay.
Digital 3D modeling. So I just had the inspiration, like I'm really good at using these softwares. Like I can learn this software really easily and learn how to 3D model. So I just kind of played around with that, and then I don't know, like a few weeks into experimenting with it, I was like, well, I'm already offering these kinds of private sessions where like I'm working with all these galactic energies. What if I just somehow turn this into a service where like I'm using this ability to channel and like this intuitive ability to feel into people. What if I took that and then I turned that into art to offer to people?
Yeah.
So it's like the process is really natural. Just like these two ideas
I love it.
that present themselves are actually just finding a way to work as one simultaneous unified expression. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And tell us, what is, like, from one of your clients, what's the most profound or healing experience that one of your clients has had by doing work with you?
Well, definitely the most profound stuff that I've experienced with clients are just in one-on-one private sessions, like just like verbal sessions. And I mean, when I'm doing them now, it could be so powerful where like the person just is so deeply emotionally affected that they will just like cry a lot during the whole thing. That's a really powerful release. So I mean, that in of itself, to have the ability for someone to be so emotionally affected and to remember themselves at such a deep level where they have a really cathartic release like that is quite interesting and quite profound to experience.
And it says something about you and your work to have that ability to hold that kind of space for someone so that they can safely have a big cry. In your
and here's the thing is like I'm not trying to do anything. It's just like it's just happening. Like the space is being held through these sessions and through me, and it's just sort of happening. So there's this sense of like amazement, like wow, look at what this higher vibrational energy can really do for all of us, you know.
I think that's I'll speak for myself. I think that is one of the most precious things about what we do is staying in the moment with these clients or situations so that when something like that does happen, it's almost like a surprise. Yeah. It's so fulfilling to be able to hold that kind of space.
Absolutely.
And you're in your beginner's mind, you're in your innocence, and when it happens, it's like, oh wow, how blessed am I to be a part of this?
Sure, yeah, it's really, you're really participating in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Gabe, will you tell us, for those starting out as spiritual entrepreneurs, and they may have some fears or hesitations, or maybe they're trying to get clients, what are your best suggestions, your best pieces of advice for these people who, especially when it comes to getting clients, that's a big thing for a lot of people that they struggle with or they're unsure about. Yeah,
well, the first component, I would say, is to understand your inherent value and to really revel in the appreciation of your passions and your gifts. And you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what my gifts are. And the things that you do know what your gifts are, it's simply the things that you feel the most excited about. It's the things that you really want to do just all day long. Yeah. And when you trust in that and you have confidence in that aspect of yourself, then what happens is you start to see more of the bigger picture and all the rest of the pieces fall into place. So like how to get clients will come to you, and it will come to you in a unique way based off of your individual excitement and your individual path. You know, like you don't have to get clients in a way that doesn't feel good to you. That's a huge thing. Like you don't have to run a business in a way that doesn't feel good to you. If you trust in the fact that everything is working in your favor, your higher self already knows exactly what works for you and exactly what doesn't work for you, it will present you in a way where it will get you the clients. Like, and just as an example, like I started my YouTube channel and I love to share all sorts of different kinds of stuff on my YouTube channel. Higher self knows that that's part of my excitement. Therefore, that's how I'm getting the majority of my clients. So it's not like start a YouTube channel and you'll get clients. It's trust your excitement and the avenue through which those clients will come will just be there. You know,
I love that approach because it's so organic and it's so much in integrity.
Sure.
With your soul, with your heart, with what you want to offer.
Yeah.
You know, you can study the marketing, you can take the business classes, and there's some value in that,
definitely.
For sure.
There's time and place for all of it.
But when you're not in integrity with your passions, your soul mission, your excitement, as you would call it, who cares how you market? Who cares how many people you reach? You know, who cares?
Yeah.
None of that matters
really,
if
doesn't
you're not
matter
in integrity with your mission.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really true. It's really true. So that's really the fundamental thing, is to establish that groundwork of trusting in yourself, trusting in your path. and the rest will come. And you'll learn different subtleties and what works and what doesn't in a more physical, practical sense. But the physical and practical thing, that has to come as a natural byproduct of laying that foundation.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Just start doing something. Start somewhere, and then you learn as you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Gabe, for people who want more information about you or who want to get a session with you,
Sure.
where do they go?
Yeah, you can just go to my website, which is just my name. It's www.gabesalomon.com. Also, my YouTube channel is just youtube.com/Gabe Salomon. All of my artwork, all of my sessions, everything that I offer, you could be found on those two links. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Gabe.
of course.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate you.